New Gen Gamers. Duck Drop.
Quick enough.
From Taito.
So here is Space Invaders. Simple enough. Shoot the aliens.
You are the big butt plug at the bottom.
Rather simple gameplay, but people ate this one up. This was a huge hit, and before Space Invaders, there really wasn't much to offer.
Yeah, there wasn't much in the way of standout games.
Everything was pretty much either sports related or basically shoot whatever's in front of you. I mean, that's essentially what this is, but it gives you a little bit of extra challenge, and see how they're picking up speed here.
Yeah, there's different strategies you can use. The game's not going to play out the same way every time because, you know, there's randomness involved with the enemies attacking, and you can use different tactics to try and hide behind the platforms.
Apparently I suck at Space Invaders.
Space Invaders is rough.
I mean, I haven't played this game in a good 10, 15 years.
That's no excuse.
I mean, it is rather simple gameplay.
It's still tough. I mean, you know, these first couple of levels aren't bad, but once they start going faster, it gets pretty ridiculous.
Wipe out that bottom row before they eat my cities. Well, like, me being weaned on Galaga and Galaxian, and like, Space Invaders should be simple. Should be. Oh, and you want to shoot the little spaceship at the top if you can. Like that. Well, that was luck.
Get those bonus points. That's what it's all about. Oh.
Oh, you dirty little... Well, needless to say, Space Invaders was a big hit for Atari, and really kind of pushed them into their golden age, where you started to see more awesome games come out of them.
And another little side note, this is by Taito, who is now owned by Square Enix, which I think is kind of a shame because Taito always had some interesting titles, and I'm afraid that we're probably never going to see any more of those games from them. So, you know, look back to this classic, but you won't probably see any more Taito games.
Yeah, it's really unfortunate. I'm going to switch over to Missile Command, another hit from Atari. Now, Missile Command's a rather simple game. The idea here is just stop the missiles with your free-floating cursor here from hitting your cities down below. And you kind of have to hit near the top of the missiles.
Yeah, it's interesting because you have to kind of angle your shot.
And this was a fairly intuitive, innovative game at the time.
Yeah, it's kind of like Space Invaders, but, you know, it's kind of the same concept, but they changed it enough that it's really a different title and really plays well. Again, much like Space Invaders, you have the impending doom coming down upon you, and you've got to stop it before it gets to you.
Atari had a lot of impending doom titles.
They really did. I don't know, I guess it was the 80s, you know, there was Cold War stuff going on.
These must be Russian missiles.
I guess.
Ha! I saved Boston again.
Yeah, every other Atari title featured some sort of space doom coming towards you.
Like even Asteroids, there really wasn't much to the game except you had to survive.
Space doom.
Yeah. Tons of space doom. We see a lot of that today still.
It's a lack of creativity.
Maybe that's it.
We'll call them out. That's what it is.
Well, in the early days, I guess it was creative. I mean, the first game ever was Space War. So, well, computer space, as they called it, because there really wasn't any action or shooting of anything. You just kind of flew around in this dark void.
We got to get our hands on that.
Yeah, that was a
If we can,
that was an action-packed title.
if we can get an original copy of, what was it?
Computer space
Space.
was actually run only on computers at MIT.
Yeah, we're gonna get one of those.
I guess we could nowadays. It'd probably be
We could
a
probably
junk pile computer
We
at
could
this point.
probably live inside of that thing.
Yeah. We could probably run that game on our cell phones, too.
On a calculator, but you know, it just shows you where things have come. This was a huge step up from
Oh,
that,
crap.
and you know,
And
they're getting
it's
ya.
all going
The
to hell
Russians are
now.
getting ya. The terrorists have won.
No, they weren't terrorists back then. They were Russians. Get it right. I still have 4 cities left. I'm fine. Yeah, and the game goes on and on, you know, ad nauseum, because that's how games were back then. I mean, it's a great game, but again, nowadays you'll probably spend about 15-20 minutes on it.
And this was another one of Atari's titles, and I imagine this was probably kind of their answer to Space Invaders and the success that it had. You know.
Oh, Atari made lots of bank off of this game. This was a
Yeah.
huge hit for them.
You know, they probably saw the success of Space
Oh, there goes
Invaders
my last one.
and wanted to get something similar out, and not a bad game, still holds up pretty well.
Yeah, it's still fun to play. So, Atari had a lot of good games that they produced, mainly because they weren't allowing anyone to produce them until Activision kind of forced their hand on that one.
And that's one way to do it.
I mean, you're going to see a lot of these titles that only came from Atari.
Dear Atari Anonymous, my son Boris has a missile command problem.
My mission in life is to save all of mankind.
Lately, my daughter has developed a similar problem with Atari Warlords. Now, with video pinball, my husband is acting funny lately. With Atari games so ingenious, so involving, so intense, I ask you, Atari Anonymous, is this problem contagious?
New Gen Gamers.com.